세러데이 쇼다운 젠지 스포츠 대 T1.
And that is what we'll see whether they can do as we dive into the draft here. I think the bans are probably going to remain the same, although maybe that Trundle is going to be changed for something else. But that is about it.
That's about it. Let's see what they want to do with first pick here. Varus gone already. Orianna and Rumble are the two big ones. The Karma is already gone. So you actually have an extra ban now as KT. See what they want to do with it.
They are first pick, so probably no Orianna ban, as Ashe is going to be taken away.
Looking like a Yunara Lulu angle for LazyFeel and Ondil, but they went first pick, so... Okay, maybe they were thinking about going for Lucian, but they will not be. That's LazyFeel's third most played.
Yeah, so no Lucian, no Varus, no Ashe. Still need to see that Orianna ban. But you can just ban Jarvan here if you want to pick up the Orianna. Could be something that you want to do. Or maybe leave it up so that you can take the Nocturne or the Jarvan and then just have a very good time on the Orianna. And so the Vayne will be banned away instead.
Interesting. So trying to set up a bit of a trade here.
Yeah.
As the Rumble's already gone. That was the major one.
I mean, it's got to be an Orianna ban, right? I mean, it's BDD. Sorry, it's Yuko. He does very much love to pick the Orianna. And never mind. They are not going to ban it. Nocturne going to be taken away instead.
I think they just want to play their Lulu lane. With the bans here, it is the strongest lane on this patch.
I was going to say, there's no way they're not picking Orianna. Okay.
Just a little tease. I do think it's really easy to Yunara Lulu here as KT Rolster.
I'm going to go Jarvan Lulu. Never mind. That's a blind nod. That would be
They banned the
crazy.
Vayne, so Perfect is just like, yeah, I guess I'll do this. Even a little bit open-ended.
I don't know whether they needed to.
No, I don't think so. I don't think so at all. But they chose to. And honestly, with no Vayne here, and the setup that they have right now,
But Orianna Yunara Lulu is very scary.
I just think they want to try to, like, I'm trying to see the angles here for KT. Like, maybe they're just thinking they can put this Gnar in such an incredible position to carry the game and also just outplay Rich. And, he's had pretty weak laning phases. Punish him. Like, that's the only explanation I have, because Yunara Lulu is so incredibly strong in this situation with the bans that we have. Now you just ban Caitlyn, and you call it a day, and you're like, all right, what do you got into this one?
Well, the Fury going to be taken away here.
Oh, look at that.
And there is the Caitlyn ban. So, what does Aiming want to play? There is no Sivir, no Ezreal, no Lucian, no Ashe, no Varus, no Vayne. I guess he wasn't going to play Vayne.
Is he going to play Kalista?
Ooh, maybe.
Kalista Renata lane?
That would be probably not good. I don't know whether that would work.
What is good, though?
Yeah, that's a really good question, Wolf.
Is it a Misfortune?
Draven Nautilus, that's what it is.
Misfortune Nautilus? Misfortune Rel?
Misfortune Rel would really not spark joy.
Nautilus is a great ban.
That is a good ban.
They're like, you can't do the shoot far, and you can't do the all-in. Take away those two things. Now, what beats us?
Well,
because like Perfect needs to get a huge amount of reason. Like, he needs to get a huge advantage from this pick to make this worth it. And they didn't even like ban away other potential counter picks to the Gnar. It's just gonna be a Corki lane.
It's gonna be Corki Nico.
It's gonna be Corki Nico.
Yay! All right.
Unyay.
Yeah, it doesn't exactly fill me with confidence that they had a trick up their sleeve, but...
Hold on, it could be Jarvan. Support the saving counter pick to flip the jungle on whatever Willow locks in.
Ooh, that's a cute one. Gnar support.
I don't think so.
All right.
So they gave, like... they went for the early Gnar pick because the Vayne was banned, and then they just were like, I guess we won't protect this further. Speaking of Vayne...
Yeah, so Vayne is going to be picked up here.
Okay, so I don't even care what effort picks, but I feel like this is a giga draft gap for QMDRX at the end of it.
Yeah, I'm feeling a little bit worried for KT.
And he's picking Nico, by the way, we already know. But, like, they have so many tools in this draft.
Oh, it could be Nami. Nami might be better for lane. Tristana does Shiu tech.
I do see what you're saying, and it is kind of good defensively into the draft here. But, like, there were so many other things he could have gone. I mean, Kennen is one of the more common ones to Tristana, though, but even Aurelia we've seen. It is the Nami. Nami's good into dive-type compositions with the Kennen coming through as well. I think that makes it even more obvious. And it's great in lane. Like you said, the sustain is very powerful.
Yeah, I think they can go toe-to-toe a bit better here with this.
If Kiwoom end up in a lane state where, like, Rich gets solo killed by the Gnar somehow, or, like, you know, Andil overextends for a trade, Lazyfield doesn't hit his Q timing, his Q is too early, for example, and then he runs out of it, and then, you know, the level 2 Corki kills him or something, then this can go disastrously wrong early on. But those are things we shouldn't assume are going to happen, right? I think this draft has a lot of power. You've got the Vi ball carry, you've got single target blow up. The Corki is not safe with his Valkyrie because you can just press R onto him. And they still got the counter pick for the Gnar top side, which we'll see how it goes. It's not a free win like the Vayne often is, but I kind of feel like Kiwoom DRX have a lot of angles in this one.
Yeah, I mean, Orianna Yunara Lulu is already just such a powerful core for buffing up that AD carry. And then you add Kennen, who could even be AD Kennen in this game. I feel like you can just kind of play it like any sort of AD carry matchup into a Gnar and really bully him out. That could be an option that they decide to go for, but otherwise it could just be team fighting AP Kennen if you would like to. I'm pretty sure the AD Kennen did pick up a few extra tools in the most recent patch, so that might be something to look out for. But KT's draft is still pretty robust, does still have a lot of win conditions, but I just think the Kiwoom DRX are looking like they are in a much better position this game. All right, here we are, ladies and gentlemen, onto the Rift 4. Game number 2, KT versus Kiwoom DRX. The first game, if you missed it, was short. And as you can see at the top of your screen there, KT were able to win. Yeah.
Understandable to miss. A very missable game.
Missable, indeed.
It would not be on my top 8 games of the week.
I'm probably not going to go back for the rewatch. May not do that. But Cuz, just right under the nose of Willa, is just going to be stealing away his stuff. Just make sure that he gets popcorn chickens as well.
Yeah.
It's very important, as Lazyfield, with the barrier already used in this lane.
That's not good.
Well, it depends what they can actually get from it, as it's not looking fantastic. As we can see here, Electrocute has been taken here from Rich, so probably the AP variety of the Kennen.
Yeah, definitely. As this matchup can be pretty volatile. The Kennen gets a lot of advantages early, though, and can continue to harass. You got to hit your shurikens, but level 2 does get hit here first for Lazyfield and Andil. That's what they do get out of that barrier. But what happens next is anyone's guess, as can backfire very quickly when aiming hits level 2 and has his own barrier. Wants to go for an all-in. Lazyfield stacking his Q, though, so it looks like they will be able to hold on to control here.
Yeah, some good trades there at the same time, as Andil just holding them in the slurkle for as long as he possibly can. But I think KT will be okay. It's not like this is going to be a lane that Kiwoom DRX are going to just slaughter and zone them away or anything like that.
My grievances with this draft for KT is that they went for the early Gnar, and I don't know what it necessarily means or what it was trying to do. Did I tank pick, for example, after the Vayne ban was there? Maybe they just think Gnar is super broken unless Vayne is on the table, and they're like, oh, they banned Vayne, let's get this. And then they lost this lane, because this lane is so strong when all of those tools are removed. They got rid of the Caitlyn, Bard is gone, obviously, and Nico was the other option, right, we could have seen, but also doesn't feel that great. So Lazyfield actually ends up getting a laning phase here where he can put the pressure on with Andil's help and get out of this laning phase feeling pretty good, because that has been, you know, I feel like not the norm. It has been the rarity for Lazyfield to come out of the lane feeling like he has an edge. But in a matchup like this, I think you absolutely can.
Yeah. So
not
far,
to mention
so good.
the Vi Orianna problem that KT will have to solve.
Yeah, that's you know, we'll cross that bridge when we come to it. You know, I think that's what Kiwoom DRX need to think about. Right now, things are very, very even. Nothing has fallen apart just yet. It's because poking his head in towards the mid lane, will be now looking for Willa, who does spot him there, but the knockup does come on through. It's a decent amount of burst there as VDD able to walk on past first, and Cuz should be able to take a second round of Raptors.
2 for 2.
Actually just gets on top of Willa once again. Will be a smite fight here. as Cuz not going to be able to land the smite, and we'll get Vault Breaker here at the same time. Still looking for the fight, finds the flag and drag there. And Willa gets his shield. This 1v1 could be won by the Vias. BDD flashes in. Now it's 1v1 on the other side as UCAL flashes the Q. And BDD will be taken out as well. A disaster for KT as KRX spring to life.
The amount of times this last 2 weeks I have seen BDD and Cuz try to make a play like this around the enemy Raptor camp, and it completely bomb and or cost them the entire game, is actually quite high, Atlas, if I'm honest with you. It's
yeah,
needs to stop happening. As here, it's like, all right, cool, we did it, yeah, all right. Now maybe join BDD a little faster. Maybe just don't think you're gonna win this one, and then
everyone flashes.
Everything goes wrong here. BDD misses. The outplay comes through from UCAL. And like, did we need to do this in a relatively rickety draft? Did KT need to force this? Because for QMDRX, they're like, no, I think we actually are willing to stand our ground here. I think we're actually willing to fight this, and it was a very flippy moment, but
yeah, I think it was fine.
I mean,
QMDRX doing a great job.
Willer has the shield passive, right? And comes back up there, and that's really the big difference maker in that exchange. I think Cuz got one extra Conqueror auto off first. But otherwise, I think that shield at this point in the game is way more valuable. And I guess Cuz thought that BDD was going to be able to impact that play a little bit faster. I'm not entirely sure what either of them thought, because it was very close, but it's an early game disaster, and QMDRX pick up a 1,000 gold lead as a result of it. The first kill, I believe, going to the Orianna.
Yeah, UCAL in a really good position right now, sitting about 450 gold ahead. Willa going to come on over and look to start off this dragon as well.
Actually, I think I went to the Vi. My bad.
Well, either way, it's still looking great for both of them as Rich presses his R button. Doesn't really get too much for it. Is LazyPill going to come up and help out with this Drake?
Perfect.
Will be Willa locking that one down.
Doesn't have TP, but see if Rich can get an extra wave denied here off of this. Willer will get the dragon, and we'll head to the mid lane. As on the top side, perfect. We'll just have to run back to the lane as fast as he can. Won't lose too much here, but Rich keeps the tempo in his favor as he backs, and will lose nothing on his return to the lane. As you can see, Perfect missing a few minions.
Yep. Not end of the world there, I guess. As now Cuz coming on over. There is no flash onto UCAL, but he does have a full health bar, so he's going to be A-okay.
And he does not have a combat ultimate, so I think UCAL is very happy to stand his ground here. Okay, this second wraparound, on the other hand.
All right, there's the Realm Warp to deliver BDD in. He does take a lot of damage. Shockwave, and BDD might just die. There he is. Effort is going to come on over and at least make sure that that kill does go over to Cuz, but that is even more experience missing from this Rise.
It's just like, they got the trade, you know, they got the kill. This feels like in these moments, there's so much miscalculation for KT Rolster. Like I say, he doesn't have a combat ultimate, but it can be used as such in this situation as he gets on top of UCAL, so he can guarantee the root comes through, then the follow-up comes through, but it's interrupted.
That's so good from UCAL.
But also, like, he just doesn't have health, you know?
It's good. It is good.
It does feel good. If you're a QMDRX fan, as we're on the KT side, and it's pretty dead silent in this early game.
Yeah. That being said, there's not a lot of surprise in the air, you know?
No.
KT fans generally are ready for any eventuation.
Especially right now when it comes to this mid-jungle.
Indeed.
Well, this draft is so volatile, so like, they gave over the Orianna, but they're like, ah, yes, well, we have the answering Gnar early priority. Well, not going so well so far.
Effort does try to offer some damage back towards UCAL.
He wants to hold the wave.
He's tanking up this whole wave. He may also be in trouble, as aiming will show up. The sacrifice is made for the Gold King. Total most of Effort's health bar. As aiming just needed to make sure he had a bit of Slurple. Needed to get a bit in there, as the grubs are going to be taken towards the top side of the map by Cuz. Effort was just fishing for a potential angle there, but not able to find it.
I see what you did there.
And Willa is going to slink into this brush, and Effort won't actually be engaged on. Interesting. I kind of thought that they would pull the trigger immediately there and just kill him.
Yeah, especially because Jarvan's topside, which I think they were aware of. And I guess Effort has flash, but I mean, you could get his flash. It's a little bit volatile with the damage output at this point, as Rich is going to ult again. Perfect is in trouble.
Goodness, yeah, that is so much damage. The hop does come on through, and oh, the shuriken, not quite enough oomph on that one. And so it will be Perfect making his way to safety without having to use his flash as well, which is good news.
He doesn't have TP back, though. And so, again, Rich is going to get a pretty nice little tempo advantage. Lazy Feel!
Yeah, Tidal Wave comes in. He has to flash to get out of the way of the bubble and use the ulti as well. Man, that is every button pressed here from the Inara. So it's going to be a little while before Lazy Feel is going to be able to do battle in this lane.
He stops this back. I'm not sure if that's what he 100% wants of this situation.
Just wanted to use a bit more of that ulti.
If you look at the item difference between BDD and UCal right now, BDD's going to need some help to challenge UCal. Does have wave clear, so that's what he's going to use right now to get a little bit of an advantage and control that banana brush, or at least get that control ward out of there. This game feels like it's still on a knife's edge because we know that KT are theoretically, on paper, nameplates on, the stronger team who has really good macro, great decision-making in team fights. Their early games have been a little bit shaky recently, as speaking of.
Yeah, Effort does have to use that flash that you mentioned before. Would have been dead if they had have got it early.
Yeah, definitely true.
But still, QMDRX in pretty good position right now as Andil rotating over, was on vision as Phosphorus Bomb does a fair bit of work, and Effort does need to definitely go home now after using basically every button. Now, Willa moves on in, does have cease and desist, doesn't pull the trigger onto Cuz. And we have 30 seconds on the next dragon.
Just wants to stick around here and see if they can get more information, but the timing is a little bit early for him to get that information. The dragon hasn't spawned yet. Aiming just backed.
Ooh,
Hearthbound X, as yeah, BD is going to get chunked.
Cuz does have the support of Effort here. Andil is also rotated up. But UCal wasn't quite in position and just used the shockwave. So
the 80 carry item difference coming into this potential fight. I think KT should absolutely say no to committing to this dragon, as Lazy Feel will rip them to shreds. Going for a steal could be an optimistic choice. I think that's probably your best bet. Or collapse on ADC.
Yeah, going for an all-in here potentially, as Aiming does at least have some tidal support. Lazy Feel is able to dash his way out of there as Cuz gets punched and destroyed. My goodness, the Phosphorus Bomb from downtown though for Aiming, who gets the passive from the Nami for the extra movement speed. UCal coming on in, gets the dissonance speed up for Willa. But now BDD's rotating down, and QMDRX are looking to try and back away because the damage is going to be there. Willa gets over the wall. There's a good polymorph onto BDD, but that went way better for KT than I expected.
Yeah, I thought that Lazy Feel was just going to live there, but he, unfortunately for him, just barely gets picked off by that final Phos Bomb coming through from Aiming. If he lives there, gets a little bit more healing to come through. Definitely a really, really strong fight and a follow-up position. Still a huge lead here for QMDRX as they have Wild Growth here, and his flash, by the way, I mean, just crazy. Dash back here, his flash timing, absolutely insane. Andil trying to help out. He lives until he gets bombed. If he just is able to avoid that damage, that is crazy. As Effort here, may run down by the dissonance, but ends up being a scrappy fight because of this bubble here, and QMDRX can't push further. They do not have the shockwave. In live, by the way, we're doing it again.
Yeah, I've seen this play before. I'm pretty sure it was just in that replay. And then in what we just commentated prior to that. Interesting. Effort and Cuz are going to go a little deeper this time, though, as a possible Realm Warp angle here for BDD as he does rotate down. The Drake was just not looked at.
Yeah, no, they were like, I want kills. I want to win the champion kills, not the objective.
And the gold lead has only extended. 1.5k, the lead QMDRX.
Perfect. In potentially danger.
Shockwave going to pull back Cuz. There's Willa finding the Vault Breaker, and it's a Jarvan Breaker this time around. Effort moving in, wanted to find BDD. Some value there as he interrupts the Vault Breaker with the Tidal Wave. But still, UCal is just offering so much supportive damage here, as the dissonance is really doing work.
They committed some resources there to get that kill on the Cuz, so Perfect will be able to push that wave through. It looks like, it looked moments before like QM were going to try to collapse onto the Gnar, but instead got the jungler and are happy with that prize. And Dragon is being taken now by Willer, since the jungler on the other side, Cuz was killed. It's 1 and 3 on this Jarvan. BD is
lord.
just chunked, man. I mean, the item difference, look at it again. Like before, it was pretty rough, but now it is extreme, disadvantage here for BDD, who does not even have his tier 2 boots yet, where he's facing tier 3 on the other side. Now, KT are the ones who start this off initially, but guess what?
Yeah.
Orianna pretty strong at this point in the game. Cuz gets collapsed on by Willer.
And Effort also decided not to join them. Maybe that was a good idea.
Helped him tidal wave here, which was important to escape.
I'm wondering whether he could have actually helped with a 3 versus 2. As now LazyField taking a lot of damage here once again. The bubble is going to get avoided as he has pressed his barrier so far, aiming still with that in his back pocket.
LazyField has his ult. That was just his Q there, and Andal has Wild Growth, so I don't think KT should try to push anything after this, especially with no mana here for aiming.
Yeah, flashes up for LazyField as well. Still gets bubbled though, as aiming decides that, nah, he just wants to go home.
I almost felt like he was trying to bait something by walking into that one.
Yeah, just grab some shoes, and he's going to be rocketing his way back up here. Cuz shows up. LazyField with every tool needed to get out of the Cataclysm available, so he'll be all right.
This game state is insanely good for KRX. It's a Mountain Dragon to come through here third, so Mountain Soul on the cards in 3 minutes time, 3.5 minutes time. If they can secure Soul Point with this comp that scales so incredibly well, it's like KT might just never get on the board here. BDD so far away from really doing the damage he needs to carry this game, and aiming is sorely behind in his race to that second item. Getting some money down here, though, at least. And he has no deaths, right? Like, he's one of the only leads, really the only significant lead for KT in this game.
Yeah, and almost has that second item completion as well, which is so important for the Corki that we talk about all the time. But Shelly is going to go over for free towards KRX, as now LazyField will press the ulti this time. Aiming just going to Valkyrie away. There's the Arc of Judgment, though, as the Tidal Wave is looking for the turnaround, but LazyField gets the flash off. Aiming flashes away, and Cuz might be the hero they need. Yukao comes down, though, to punish, as it's a 1-for-1. Now a teleport in from Rich, looking to try and take down the job, and they should be able to do so, as Perfect does the same thing. The shockwave is gorgeous, and Yukao is going to be able to evict BDD from the map. Flash away from the Vault Breaker, and Perfect will get the hyper for the movement speed, but a 1-for-3, that's not what KT were looking for.
5 kills to the Orianna now. Yukao is massive in this game. He has the gold lead that QM had moments ago, but is expanded elsewhere as well. And now KRX also looking to take this first turret here of the game. And KT were playing so greedy on that bottom side push. I mean, LazyField was sitting on his ult. Andal had his Wild Growth as well. And for a moment, when they were walking forward, like the aiming here, he might flash Wild Growth on you. You have to be so careful here. LazyField plays it back and safe instead initially here, gets the double slow, and then when they go back on him, he flashes the Tidal Wave, gets the Wild Growth, has the damage here. Cuz saves the day initially, but Yukao is so much faster on the play. So is Rich, who teleports way before Perfect, who's unfortunately kind of out of this fight. Goes on top of Yukao as another massive shockwave. Willer shows up here as well, as it becomes a true 5v5. And now KRX gonna take a second turret of the game, and it's only 90 seconds until that dragon spawns. And I can't imagine a world where KT can group for prio for that. And the only lead they had was aimings, and it's now completely gone.
Yep. 28 gold going to be the advantage for LazyField, as now there's the flash flag, and Dragon Tsunami that locks down the kill onto the Yunars. Cataclysm onto Willa. He Vault breaks his way out. The KT looking for it as Cuz diving. Another bubble is going to connect. The phosphorus bomb not enough, as the Wild Growth will save Willa. KT at least able to find a few angles here to try and close that gap, but they are still in dire straits.
Still got some big cooldowns before this dragon fight, so in terms of getting the dragon, that's going to be quite helpful. And Perfect also will get half of this turret. Bounties are up here at 17 and 45 minutes in this game. So I suppose, there's a few angles here for KT. The bounties just went away.
Yeah. Bounties were there for a few seconds.
Bounties.
And then KT found a little bit of an angle.
Yeah, bounties were nerfed a while ago. It does not feel like they stay around for very long, as this is a great flash play from Cuz to set up this pick, and the Willer is forced to Q away with the Vault Breaker. Unfortunately, this turret is very healthy, and Yukao is here to offer a shield, and then Andal's Wild Growth, which I don't think is necessary. It was at least there, so definitely was going to be very difficult to get any sort of follow-up kill. He doesn't have Wild Growth for a potential Drake fight here, where KT have kind of wrestled some of that prio away with that last play. If KT win a fight here, we could go back to pretty much even They're just so far behind right now. Second item has not transformed for aiming. It's so close. It's just not there yet.
Yeah, they need to kill Yukal. If KT managed to take Yukal off the map, then maybe they stand a chance in a team fight. Problem is, if they use their resources to kill him, then LazyFeel might be in a position to carry. And it looks like KT just not willing to fight for this, even if it is sole point.
The zoning of Yukal's ball alone is just so difficult to approach, and it looks like they're just going to get the Dragon for free, and KT are looking to cross-map, but there's nothing to get. His mid-turret's too healthy. BDD is losing minions as he goes up to catch the top wave. Kind of some decision-making paralysis here for KT as they grouped but could not gain access and just ultimately walked away and got nothing in return.
Yeah, 0-3-1 for BDD on the rise. Really not being able to get back on the horse, as it were. And aiming is still, you know, he's still the gold king, right? So he still has the only lead for KT. And BDD might be able to get their first turret, as it looks like that will be secured. Shore up a bit of this gold, but it's still sitting at 3K. And the main thing that I'm looking at is the dragon count.
Yeah, the dragons are worth more than turrets worth of gold.
I would agree.
Way more than that, and LazyFeel here does have his ult and flash, and Rich shows up.
Yep, Rich is going to be able to find the snare, and there goes the bottom lane. Sometimes you just get Kennen.
All right. The last time I said this week, we did not go to 3, but I think, Atlas, we're going to 3. And I legally, you know, I just mentioned that, like, I did mess it up the last time around. There was a bit of an overextension. There was a bit of an error made in that game. But I don't think it's happened this time.
Yeah, this is an on-spawn Baron that KRX are taking. KT are going to wander up and see whether they can get I guess, a turret in exchange. There is a Gnar pushing on the bottom side as well. It's perfect. We'll be able to at least get a couple of plates here, but so far, Rebel Baron power play is only at about the 800 that you get by default, but they have got almost 3 minutes to play with here. Try and get a whole bunch of these turrets down.
Bounties are back. Rich's flank here. Just no vision at all whatsoever. None. And he just gets on top of aiming when the follow-up comes through.
Even flashes on top of a tidal wave, but it doesn't matter.
Doesn't matter. They had wild growth, which they didn't even need in that exchange. And now LazyFeel has his ult back up. There's no team fight in the interim. And he is looking for a third item pretty soon here. Durk and Amy's inventory makes me nervous. Just in general, doesn't fill me with confidence that he's going to be, even though his gold is still relatively even with LazyFeel, going to be doing anywhere near what this Yunar is going to do, because the Yunar has so much support. This draft here for QMDRX comes online in the mid game. KT's does not, and they're 5,000 foot behind.
Not sure about that one, as the flash over the top of the tidal wave will allow LazyFeel to lock down the kill. BDD had realm warped in though. That's going to be a trade of 80 carries, and now BDD is looking to try and get himself on top of Andal as well. That was a teleport in from BDD, I guess, to start this one off, as never mind, he doesn't have that one either. Don't know how he got there, but he did. Yukal is going to be able to finish him off though, as Andal finally falls, and the Gnar from Perfect will try to get Willer out of there. Wallop to try and frustrate the cannon, but he just lightning rushes after, and I think the Perfect is very dead. A punch from Willer will take down the Gnar, and it's a 3 for 2 in favor of QMDRX, and now with a lot of extra space to play with, they should be able to knock down a turret or two.
I haven't seen BDD look this frustrated since 22 Nongshim, to be honest with you, Atlas. He looks
he just
pretty
walked
mad.
from the top
Yeah,
lane.
no, he was up there. So he wraps around here. LazyFeel goes in super deep. They have the wild growth, but BDD does have the damage here despite the polymorph, with some help from Cuz to take him out. Cuz is the one who ultimately secures the kill. Then he takes this short realm warp across to chase Andal and also escape the onslaught of QMDRX. So at least that's what he thought. He's like, okay, maybe we can get this Lulu on my way out. He does not get the Lulu, and it's unfortunately his jungler again who picks up that kill. Perfect is just going to meet the Wolves here. And it's a massive, massive win for QMDRX despite the kills going over to the bottom duo. And the lead pushes to near 6,000 here, and it's again another dragon spawning right after this prio is given back to QMDRX. The gold lead just continues to grow.
Mountain Soul is going to be impossible for KT to play into. They are already so far behind. They don't have the damage to fight QMDRX even now. And you add that extra shield, the extra resistances. Oh, it is so incredibly rough. Aiming's big ones are at least doing some damage, but
they will do less
between
into the shield of the Mountain Soul, unfortunately. But yeah, I mean, let's see. I mean, maybe they could get a Miracle Steal. Cuz has Flash, he's Jarvan.
And then they need to win the fight as well. Yukal does hit his Void Staff. Dash Cannon Luden's Void Staff is pretty strong here on the Orianna right now, there are only 2 items for BDD so far.
Yeah, BDD is fake 2 levels down because he's about to be just 1 level down when that rod completes. But that is not going to do numbers for his damage, really. I mean, it'll do, obviously, a Rod of Ages worth of 1 level on Rise for damage. But what I am getting at is that he's not going to have that 3rd item, whereas look at the items of Yukal. This has kind of been the story of this entire game, as Yukal has had more items than him. And it all started with that 2v2 that went awry mid-jungle. So this game was really opened up. Well, maybe the draft could have been another look, but
yeah,
in-game, that's the big moment. And this Orianna has been bigger than him the entire way. Rich also getting the counter pick here and crushing it.
Did they just take a free dragon? Is KT a backing? Okay, well, BDD is in this top lane. He's going to see whether he can get a little bit of
I mean, look at the bottom
bounty
side of
gold.
the map. There's no way KT can win a fight here, and they're just going to try to hunker down and pray that maybe they can get an Elder flip win or something, because they get the bounty money for BDD here. He needs money so desperately. So does the whole team. This will be about as much gold as I think KT could have ever hoped for. It takes 1,000 out of the chunk, so it's like 1/6 of the gold lead taken away from that turret take alone.
Oh my goodness, that's Infinity Edge done for Lazy Feel. Aiming has 3 items. They don't feel the same as the 3-item spike that was just claimed for Lazy Feel.
He predicted accurately that they would get Mountain Soul, so the value on the Serpent's Fang is going up.
There you go.
He knew all along that we're not getting any dragons this game. Rich is in a precarious position.
Yeah, he is just going to get pounced on by everyone. Goes lightning mode for a few seconds, but then will immediately go down. There's a minute on the Baron.
I like this type of play from KT, a little bit of guerrilla warfare, you know, push the side lanes, don't try to take the impossible dragon fight. Remember, they were able to make the comeback happen against D+.
Oh, Realm Warp is going to come down. They're going to see whether they can lock down Willow. This is right before the Baron as well, as the bubble comes through. Cuz makes it out to safety. Lazy Feel finds himself a little bit of a slow on to BDD, but KT have managed to disengage. That is 2 dead now on KRX's side.
Gold lead is halved.
Oh, God, don't tell me.
Bounties are still up. We have seen D+ already fall prey to a massive lead, but not making the right decisions into KT. But I don't think this is the same situation. Like, D+ made a lot of errors. This is KT making good, proactive plays. They set up the push here in top for BDD to get the bounty. Then he waits here. He's 2 levels down on Rich. Rich is not worried about this. And then everybody springs out of the bushes, including aiming. And KRX just did not have any vision or any idea that this was happening. And the follow-up here onto Willer is excellent. BDD's got the Realm Warp. He gets over the wall, but the Cataclysm follows. Cuz also escapes. Cuz having a great series. Yeah, despite the early shenanigans with BDD not being the best, still making a huge impact in this game that seemed surely lost. It still seems likely lost, but the lead has halved from 6K to 3K here for QMDRX.
Looking pretty good. Let's see whether KT can actually challenge for this Baron, though. That is going to be the next thing that they need to figure out, as KMDRX have so much vision control, but the crab vision is not going to be removed. So they do still have eyes on the front door. As oh dear, Cuz does spot them making their way in. There's the Wild Growth. Cuz flashes out of the way. I just don't think it's going to be enough. And that is a dead jungler. That should be a Baron.
Perfect's going to try to get some stuff on the cross map here, but I think they can just send Rich home to defend. They can get this mid turret as well, so it's a lot of money for KT. They'll get in exchange, where the Baron is just more valuable here than this inner and outer turret, because the Baron is what's going to lead to Prio for the Elder, which will spawn around the same time this Baron wears off. So things are looking really good for QMDRX with this Baron secure. And maybe even a collapse onto KT.
Yeah, this is danger. As Willer rotating over, there's the Rune Prison tied away. Bubble is going to connect for Rich. He gets in there. Willer is going to go down, though. Is now aiming in so much trouble. He'll be taken out, but it's a 2-for-1 so far. Never mind. There's a shockwave, and down will go the majority of KT to join Cuz for a couple of seconds before he respawns. Perfect is just bailing. He's heading towards that top side. He wants nothing to do with this.
All of the wave clear is gone. KT in dire straits here. It looks like QMDRX are going to open up the base and maybe even get more. BDD's not up for 35 more seconds here. I think there's a real chance they can end. They have Baron buff.
Yeah, they got Baron. They got Yukal and Lazy Field that do a lot of damage to these structures, as Cuz, yeah, he's flag and dragging his way out of there. Perfect needs more Naba. And QMDRX, they do now have a bit of a siege. So it looks like they're not going to commit. So not going to go for this one. The Elder is not up for another 2 minutes time. The Rebel Baron power play is still looking good, and the base is now in tatters on the KT side. Let's have a look at this one more time.
This is a flank from Rich here, and they initially get on top of Willer, but Rich actually has this angle where he flashes and looks for the 3-man. The stun's amazing. Perfect comes in here, but Rich just kind of kites it back, does tons of damage. Then UCal shows up, self-ults BDD, and that's the end of the fight. Those are the kills they needed, all those 3 to push and open up the base. And like I said, with the timing of the Elder, the Baron is going to guarantee they have prio around the map, but with the inhibitor down as well, it's just guarantee that Kiwum get to take the fight the way they want to. 4,000 gold lead is still significant, but not as much as the 6,000 gold lead they had much earlier in the game. KT still have a fighting chance here. BDD has Actualizer, right? That's a huge, huge winning point here for KT, as well as aiming. Yeah, the Serpent's Fang didn't look that threatening. Now it feels like cool tech into this Mountain Soul when he's got the IE done as well. KT absolutely can, with a good Elder fight here, win this game. They've got to do the heavy lifting of clearing this mid wave and getting prio and getting to fight that 5v5. If they can get there, I don't want to say it's an even chance for them, but it's much closer than it looked like they were ever going to get 10 minutes ago.
Absolutely. I feel like they have fought their way back. As aiming parked in this mid lane. You mentioned those 4 items. Now has a Hex Drinker to his name as well. And it is now a reset opportunity. 40 seconds on this Elder. KT needs to get over there to get vision down. There is no vision for KT on that bottom side of the map. As Baron is going to be over in 20 seconds time.
Glutinous Greaves are so high value here. We look at the item parity between these two 80 carries. Just so much more late game fighting power and survivability, plus the fact that they have UCal with shields, plus the fact they have Mountain Soul, plus the fact that UCal is also fed.
What about the fact the Perfect has 2 recurve bows?
That's not, I don't think that's in the pros column for KT here. It's in the not a 4-gamer pros column, which I do like.
Well, Willa looking for the angle there, just walks his way out. Never mind, Lazyfield just kills effort though. Before anything else has really happened, Cease and Desist comes in, there's a shockwave onto Cuz. They want to prioritize the jungler as Perfect finally transforms, but Lazyfield is going to jump on top of him. BDD explodes the Inara though, and now it is aiming with a lot of damage, and that orb is less scary without that shockwave threatening. There is still a lot of damage here for KT, but Rich, he represents a fair bit himself as he now tries to dive in on top of this Corki. Will be able to take him down, and BDD not there to defend.
That's game.
Yeah, that should be it, as he's going to realm warp to try and get back to his fountain. That might be where he can go, but these Nexus turrets are going to be going down as Willa goes in. The fountain is there, but BDD is not. There's the ace, and KRX will bring us to 5 games for the day and 3 for the series.
Those damage numbers, by the way. Yeah, Lazyfield, he ended up doing big ones. You got a little bit less damage than I expected, frankly, but he did some very valuable damage in those early to mid-game team fights.
Yeah, exactly. I think it's the lighter number that is the most important, as UCal really did carry that early game with a phenomenal start. I mean, it all just happened in the jungle around that red buff, that fight between Cuz and Willa that Willa ultimately won, and BDD then dies to UCal at the same time. Cute little...
좀 세울게.
다시 이거. 각 좋아 얘들아. 형 밖에 밖에.
박아 대충 박아.
나 잘못해 사람만 죽이자.
나 봐줄게 빼. 나 봐주고 있어.
그래만 안 돼. 미드 가자.
봐주고 있어.
미드.
발길이 없어 고르키. 발길이 없어.
미드 가자 이거.
끝낼 수 있냐?
나가볼게.
고르키 점샌드.
이제 막아보자 이거. 못해줄게.
미드 라이트 유제 없어.
야 끝내 미드 가서 끝내.
유제 없어 라이트.
끝내 제발 끝내줘. 끝내. 나
유제 없어.
나 빨리 놔줘.
끝내줘. 나이스.